The future happens no matter how much we scream. The words of Nobel laureate Sir Derek Walcott. I love that quote. It's one of my favorites from Sir Walcott because it speaks to the real challenge we have in front of us. Whether we like it or not, ready or not, the future is going to happen. Whether we're comfortable with AI or not, AI is here. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And like I say all the time, I said it last evening, every day we have a choice. We can choose to curse darkness or light a candle. Make the right choice. Choose to light a candle. That quote is a powerful reminder that we cannot slow down or stop the future. And so our best bet actually is to try to help shape it. Because running to meet the future, run to meet the future, or it's going to run you down. And if you don't believe me, look at who's next to that quote. The fastest woman, St. Lucia's Julian Alfred, Olympic champion. Juju. We couldn't put a medal around her neck because when you're running, you don't run with a medal, right? So, but couldn't resist that picture right there. We have to shape it. We have to shape it. The big push. I go back there and I will draw from that well time and again in our discourse, not just today, but as we continue our engagement. What will it take to double the size of this economy, the ECCU economy? St. Lucia, Grenada, Anguilla, Dominica, Montserrat, St. Vincent and Grenadines, St. Kitts and Nevis. Did I miss anyone? Montserrat? Yeah, everybody, all 8. What will it take to double the size of our economy? And remember, when we speak about doubling the size of the economy, it's more than GDP. It's about enlarging opportunities. It's about also how we pay for what we want. I see every day people want the government to do this and to do that. And the question often is, who's going to pay? Take health insurance, for example. We all want health insurance, but who's going to pay for it? It's very expensive. So when we speak about doubling the size of our economy, it's not just about GDP. In fact, that's just the opening conversation. It's a conversation starter. It's about how we come together to enlarge the economic pie and that we all get a fair share and a better shake in our currency. And I bring it home by saying, and pay for things that we want from our governments. Because at the end of the day, somebody has to pay for it. But then we take this a step further and we make it real personal. Because the economist talking, maybe not. At a personal level. What will it take to double your net worth? What will it take? And I want to recognize the president of the Grenada Credit Union League, Mr. Randy Boy Cadet, who is here, Randy. Just wave your hand. Thank you. We had an excellent collaboration with the League and the Eastern Caribbean Security Regulatory Commission. I see Samantha Lewis is here. You made it back. Very good. On Tuesday in Grenada, around an investment conference, teasing out these issues of how we move from investing, being financial savers to investors. And I challenged them in my keynote about how we move from being savers to investors and from investors to producers, not just consumers, but producers. And I gave the simple example of Amazon. Every time we go on Amazon and click, we are consuming. And Jeff Bezos is happy. We are consumers. Could we not use technology to become producers? Could we not invest in Amazon, for example, and become an investor and therefore benefit from a vehicle that we constantly consume or through which we consume? Just a mind shift, a change of mind shift. So this is the question that we need to engage as we think about our future, not just at the corporate level, but also at the individual level. Our theme today is future-proofing for banking resilience. What is resilience? Professor Robinson gave a definition last evening. My simple definition, in layman's terms, is Resilience is our capacity to withstand and absorb shocks and bounce forward. Not back, forward. I believe every time we go through a crisis or an adversity, we must leverage it and we must be better on this other side. So I don't want to talk about going back to where we were before the pandemic. That's bounce back. I want to talk about how we get better to reduce the effects, scarring, and otherwise on our economy when we face shocks. So the flight from Barbados or St. Kitts to Barbados is a legacy of the pandemic, a direct flight. And as difficult as it was in the immediate months and years after the pandemic, when many of us had to go to Miami to get to our own member countries, which means you had to have a US visa, how ridiculous could that be? We have a direct flight. So the situation has improved. Now, it doesn't mean that the connectivity is great. We still have issues. But I'm saying out of that difficult experience, we now have a direct connection. And when it works, as it did yesterday, it's an hour, and it works. How do we bounce forward? That's the mindset we want to have. So CEOs, chairs, I know the job is tough. I'm a CEO too. So I'm speaking to us because all of us are going through this issue. But our job is to try to navigate a future and shape it in a way that builds resilience. Given the neighborhood in which we live, we have no choice but to do just that. Here are my key messages. 1, risk management and ACE leadership are paramount, absolutely paramount in this moment, in this season of uncertainty, but also opportunity. At the ECCB, our leadership ambition is to be ACE leaders. What do we mean by ACE? It's on the screen. We want to lead with agility, clarity, energy, and empathy. That's the challenge. Everyone, myself included, that's the challenge for leadership in this bank. Are we there yet? It's a work in progress. And I say to you this morning, chairs of board, members of board, CEOs, senior officials of our LFIs, I want to challenge you to also embrace that notion. Because in a period of rapid change, agility is absolutely important. Because as Warren Buffett once remarked, the ABCs of business decay are arrogance, bureaucracy, and complacency. Let me repeat that. The ABCs of business decay are arrogance, bureaucracy, and complacency. Let that never be our portion. So we need agility. And even in uncertainty, when we don't know exactly what will happen next as leaders, we have to provide clarity. Yes, even with uncertainty, our job is to provide clarity. What's our next step? We may not know the next 10, but what's our next step? And then the next, and then the next. And we must bring the energy. We can't transform this region without energy. At a personal level, but also in terms of real energy. This is why we're so big on the energy transition. And that's why I'm pleased to say en passant this morning that this conference, as we speak, is being powered by solar PV. You should give the central bank a round of applause for that. I had to solicit that one, but you see, we tend to get a little complacent and we take what we've done for granted. We've been celebrated for this investment all around the world. This is our God-given gift. It's hot. Are we going to curse the darkness? Light a candle. We've lit a candle with a solar PV investment and battery storage. And by the way, we save $1.8 million every year now as a result of that investment. And then we must guard against status quo bias. Just continue to do things the way they've always been done. Because if we don't, we face the real prospect of being the boiling frog. You know the story of the boiling frog? Everybody gets that? The frog is in this warm water, The water is getting warmer and warmer, and the frog is enjoying himself as the water gets warmer and warmer, and the space gets hotter and hotter. The frog does nothing except just to go with the motion, go with the tide. And then one day it's boiling, and that frog is boiled alive. We have to adjust as we go. We don't always know exactly how it will work out, but we have to be courageous, we have to be brave, we have to be bold, and we have to act collectively. Which takes me to my final key message: the necessity for us to act urgently, with urgency and collective action. You think about our central bank. You think of how these small states come together. After we were given up, they said there was no hope for us. They didn't want us. That's why the Federation broke up. They didn't want us. We'll be a drain on the bigger countries. Look at what we see today. The bigger countries come to us and want to live with us. We've done something right. And one of the things we've done really right, very right, is a central bank, a monetary union, for which we must be absolutely proud. If we are not our own cheerleaders, don't expect the world to cheer for us. I'm making a point here this morning. Our children must understand what we've done, why we've done it, and why we must preserve these arrangements. And when I repeat these stories, it may sound as if I've heard this before. But I want to be honest with you, it's not about you. It's about my children, and our grandchildren. Because they must take this and move forward with it with full understanding of why we've done what we've done and the absolute necessity to maintain these arrangements. They work for us, and they must continue to work for us. So I'm going somewhere with all of this. If you're not interested and you're bored, that's on you. I am looking at the future, and that future is now. You saw the children, the students who were here last night? I'm speaking to them. So if I tune out if you wish, no offense. We have to make sure we seize the hearts and minds of this generation, because they are the ones who have to carry this message forward and carry this task forward. We have to train them well. They have to know their history and understand their responsibility. Let me try and see if I could run through this quickly. So the shocks keep coming. And in terms of the global context, I would simply say that growth has resumed post-pandemic, not as fast as before the pandemic. Currently around 3%. We will see how trade policy emerges in the aftermath of the recent US presidential elections. We wait with bated breath. Inflation has come down, which is great. Remember when it was 2 years ago at 9%? Inflation now is approaching 2%, and in our currency union is under 2%. Of course, geopolitical tensions, the war in the Middle East, Ukraine, other issues will always be of concern to us. And the biggest reason why we watch that, beyond the fact that we want to see peace in the world, is its potential impact on oil prices, because we are oil importers. So that concerns us. And then, of course, there is climate change. I want to confirm to you this morning, as governor of your central bank, that our EC dollar remains strong. At this moment, our backing is 98.6%. Remember what I said earlier? Business decay. Arrogance. Anybody remembers the B? Bureaucracy. Very good. And you must never get complacent about the EC dollar. We work hard every day to maintain the value of that dollar. So when I put that up there, it is to remind us of what we're doing and why we must do it. And you should applaud lustfully and heartfully, because this is an important thing. Not for me. It's not about me. It's about what we have done together. I've seen this before. Yeah, I've seen it before. Arrogance, bureaucracy, and complacency. We could never and must never get complacent about our EC dollar. We have to work hard every day to protect that, and we do. Inflation is down. You saw that. Credit is up. Banks, so that's good news. Credit is up. We wanted to go faster. That's why I was pushing the credit guarantee last night, very deliberately. But you see credit is moving up. Growth, this year we probably do around maybe 4%, 4.5%. Next year, 3.5%, 4%. So that's the overall prospects that we see. Major trends in banking. I don't need to tell you. You know banking even better than we do. Rising customer expectations. The customer really doesn't care how much money you're spending on compliance and all of that. They want service, they want it faster, and they want it better. And I will say, in all candid, speaking quite candidly this morning, I am concerned about customer service levels in our region. I get complaints, we get complaints, too many complaints about customer service. We've had different issues along the way. I don't want to chronicle them now, they are well known. But fundamentally for me and for us at the bank, it is this notion of retaining public confidence in our banking system. So when I get on, when I press the point about customer service, it's not simply about customer service, although that is in and of itself an important reason for us to do better. But it's about how we preserve confidence in our banking system. And we must be clear, at this moment, about 70% of all our banking assets are in indigenous hands. The captains and CEOs around this table who lead our banks, many of them now lead indigenous banks. By the way, we're happy to have CIBC. CIBC don't go anywhere. Donna, where's Donna? I'm going to get you to sign a pledge before you leave St. Kitts. Very good. We're happy to have a Canadian bank, and we're happy to have Republic. Republic, where is Tracy? Tracy, are you there? I saw her last evening. But I know some Republic folks must be. Oh yeah, there you go. I see Mavis, I see Gordon, I see Leon, good. Ron, good. We need you, and we appreciate what you do. But I'm also challenging you to raise, all of you, all of us, to raise our customer service standards. Which leads me to say, I am concerned, we are concerned about the legacy core banking systems that you currently use. I have to be very clear, folks, because I don't want anybody to misunderstand what I'm saying. It is my considered view that the core banking systems used by most of our banks is no longer fit for purpose. Oh, okay. So we agree on that. Are we going to curse the darkness? We're going to light a candle on this one. Because some of the customer service standards that we need to elevate in this region requires us to modernize and upgrade that core banking system. We stand ready. I know some of you are saying, oh boy, another reform, another digital transformation. I've just acquired Scotia, or I've just acquired RBC, I've just acquired this, and I need breathing space. And I have empathy. You know, we leave the empathy around here. I have empathy for you CEOs who are going through that. The transition, the migration, the cultural, bringing staff together, those are not easy things. And I know some of you, it's been a tough 2-3 years. I get that. But at the end of the day, what's our mission? Why are we here? Who do we serve? We don't do the easy things, we do the right things. And the right thing to do is to find a new core banking system. I couldn't be more clear on this one. I have to be direct on this one. Because I believe fundamentally it is about public confidence in our banking system. Let us put our minds together. And no one bank should go it alone. No one bank should go it alone. This is an absolute opportunity, excellent opportunity for us to come together, common cause, with urgency and collective action. The third key message that I offered. Banks, LFIs, let's do something about that. The notion that we wait 10 or 12 years to get an upgrade is ludicrous. It's unacceptable. I'm going to be blunt because I absolutely feel it needs to be clearly understood. That is not an acceptable position. So let's put our hands and minds together on this one and figure out the way to go. I haven't gotten that one off my chest. I'm going to skip the other point. That was the most important one on that slide as far as I am concerned. And I want to kind of land this plane soon. But I will say on the last one, generative AI is here to stay. And as I thought about the core banking system, I wondered whether or not generative AI could assist us with some of the business planning, business requirements to make it easier. Even for us at the central bank. Because sometimes a lot of the work to do the digital transformation is around the hassle of figuring out where we are, the processes, and how we're going to re-engineer. And my thinking is generative AI may actually be a tool we can use to help us with the re-engineering to come up with a system. So I'm not saying you're doing everything by AI, no, right? That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying how that tool can be deployed to make faster what it is you're doing. And then I found out some of our larger banks in other places in the world are doing exactly that. And so what would take months now takes days. What would take days is now 5 days is now taking 1 hour. So we may have a chance with a smart tool to help us figure that out. And I'll leave that there in the interest of time. The risks are abundant. You see them here. Single points of failure. 4 C's is something you came together and did. Many people in our region do not understand the absolute systemic importance of 4 C's, the Caribbean Credit Card Corporation Company, for what we do for payments in this region. And I see the General Manager, Mr. Gatsby, is there. You're so welcome. Banks, you came together in collective action. But now you need to make the next move. And as a central bank, the regulator of the payment space, including 4 C's, we're concerned about you're not making that investment in a timely fashion. All of our banks depend on you. Our system depends on you. When people go into the ATMs or they do their MasterCard or their Visa card, they are not interested in the background who is who. They just want their money and they want it now. They want the transaction go through and they want it now. And by the way, they want it all day and all night. And don't tell them it's weekend, we're going to check you Monday. No. That has to be fixed. No. Rising customer expectations. That's true for all of us, including 4 C's. So here again, I'm being very specific this morning. We have an opportunity to come together for the next generation in terms of the upgrade that is required and the potential collaborations that could happen. And I hope those conversations will continue during this week while you're here and immediately beyond, because we have to settle on the way forward where that is concerned. Been very specific this morning. By the way, I've abandoned the text a long time ago, but that's okay. I'm almost done. An idiot with a plan can beat a genius without a plan. The words of the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett. LFIs, what's your plan? Do you have one? What's your plan for 4 C's? What's your plan for your core banking system? What's your plan for AI? What's your plan to improve customer service? What's your plan for cyber risk? What's your plan for climate risk? What's your plan for credit risk? All right, I've said enough on that. Do you have a plan? An idiot with a plan can beat a genius without a plan. Practical use cases of AI. For us in the region, I will tell you, and for us in the central bank, there are many use cases that we see. We already use AI in the central bank, but we feel that there could be other things we could do to make the regulatory experience easier and more effective in terms of how we work with you. But there are a number of other things. For us in research, we're very keen on getting data analytics elevated in this bank. It's part of our strategic directions, and AI can help. How we handle customer complaints. When we set up the Office of Financial Conduct and Financial Inclusion, which we are now working on, Monetary Council has already approved the design elements. We will use some AI to help us manage consumer complaints. That is absolutely going to be on the cards. Financial literacy, and I mentioned earlier the investment conference and what we want to do there. So I see immediate opportunities for us to collaborate. If you don't have it, you don't have to build it. You need to find the right partner. Whether it's another credit union, another bank, whether it's with the credit unions, and I want to recognize Ms. Denise Garfield, the CEO of the ECCU, the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions. Denise, where are you? Are you somewhere in the room? Right, there you are. We've been partnering with credit unions. They're an important player in this space. And we want to continue to build that collaboration. And so I close with before I do that, I want to end by thanking all of you who made this conference today, this week. I want to thank our team who's worked very hard to put the conference together. I thank all the presenters, the panelists, and all those who will share their very important insights with us over the next couple of days. I wish you a wonderful conference. Your regulator says that while here you can have fun, so feel free to do just that. I know some of you will take in the cruise a little later, and it's absolutely allowed. We want you to do that. You work hard. It's time for a little party, a little lime, even as we do the work and so on. So we absolutely want to encourage that. So I conclude with what I said last evening, and I say all the time. As a region, we cannot change our history. Nor can we change our geography. But we can and must elevate our development trajectory, big push, through innovation and collective action. Let's do it together. God bless you. Have a great week.